Hey everyone, Iain De Jong here of OrgCode. Today, we're tackling a big one. Is housing a right or is housing a reward? Now, this isn't just some abstract policy debate. This question fundamentally shapes how we approach homelessness. If you believe housing is a reward, then you think people should somehow earn it. If you believe housing is a right, then you recognize that no one should be without a home, period. Let's break it down. Housing is a right, not a privilege, not something you have to prove yourself worthy of. A basic human right, just like clean water, food, and medical care. Let's start with the most obvious reason. One, basic human dignity. We don't debate whether people deserve emergency medical care. You don't see paramedics rolling up on someone having a heart attack and in that moment asking, "But have you been making responsible life choices?" So why do we treat housing differently? The truth is, without stable housing, every other part of life becomes exceptionally harder. Things like finding a job, staying healthy, healing from trauma, getting an education. Housing isn't a luxury. It's the foundation for everything else. And we know that housing with supports works. Some people think if you just give people housing, they'll never work to improve their lives. But guess what the evidence actually says? The exact opposite. Housing with the right supports has shown over and over and over again that when people get stable housing without preconditions, they are far more likely to stay housed, improve their health, engage in employment or education, reduce their reliance on emergency services. We see it every time. When people have a stable place to live with the right supports, they can finally focus on something beyond survival. And housing is the smart economic choice. So let's talk money. It actually costs way more to keep people homeless than it does to house and support them. Think about the costs of things like emergency room visits, policing and jail time, shelters that may keep people cycling in and out. Meanwhile, permanent housing with supports, it costs less. And perhaps more importantly, it actually works. So even if you don't care about the moral argument, the economic argument should convince you. All right, let's talk about the other side. Some people believe that housing should be a reward, that people should have to earn it by proving they're sober, being employed, or demonstrating readiness in some other way. This belief is built upon what I would call are some flawed assumptions, like people should work for what they get, or if you give housing away, people won't appreciate it, or some people will just waste the opportunity. Here's the problem as I see it. People experiencing homelessness are not fundamentally different from housed people. And housing is not a reward for good behavior. It's the foundation that allows good things to happen. I believe that when you expect someone to earn housing while they're sleeping like in a bus shelter, is like telling someone to swim while they're drowning. If you have a broken leg, no one expects you to run a marathon before you get a cast. If you're homeless, you shouldn't have to prove you deserve housing before you get it. It's backwards, it's cruel, and it doesn't work. So here's the real question. Do we want a system that ends homelessness? Or do we want a system that just manages homelessness indefinitely? Because if we keep treating housing as something people have to earn, we'll keep people stuck in survival mode, struggling to get by instead of moving forward. If we recognize housing as a right, well then we start designing systems that actually get people off the streets permanently. And at the end of the day, that's the goal, right? Look, this isn't about giving people something for nothing. It's about giving people the chance to rebuild their lives. So let's stop asking who deserves housing and start asking, why are we okay with people being homeless in the first place? I maintain that at the end of the day, people need somewhere to live, something to do, and someone to love. I'll put a link in the description for a previous video on why I hate homelessness but do not hate people experiencing homelessness, which gets at a whole bunch of the myths and provides you a whole bunch of facts and research. If you find this video helpful, give it a like, share it, and let's keep the conversation going in the comments. Thanks for watching.